Really good to put a new battery in this thing. Alrighty guys, welcome back to another video. So today we're going to head down to the shed and try and get some work done. So in the last video, I think we, so in the last video we had the dyno, and that was all good. Everything turned out to be fine. So we ended up getting that tuned. If you haven't seen that, go watch that. I'll click it, put it up here. Go have a look. We've had some issues with the white car already. So yeah, we're going to head down there and I'll show you more about the car. We're having some issues. Walk you through kind of our steps and plans to getting the car back on the road because it's currently off the road. So yeah, let's do this. There's our girl, and that broken one. Alrighty, let's get straight into it. So here we've got the white car, white RB30 Turbo. So I can't currently separate that turbo from the manifold in the car. So the manifold has to come out with the turbo. Then we can separate, just because it is a bit tight in there. It's a little bit of a pain in the ass, but look, it's not an issue. So yeah, straight away. The reason why we're taking the manifold off is because we have a turbo coolant feed leaking. We can't get to it with it inside the car. So plan is take it all out, separate the turbo from the manifold once it's out, and then we can get new lines made. I'll probably get like a braided hard line this time rather than like a hose, which the guy did last time. Currently we have the oil feed, oil drain off already. I'll take this intercooler piping off first, get all the shit out of our way, and then we can start pulling this manifold off. So we'll pull that, oh, this dog, man, I tell you what. Alright, so, sorry about the dog. So we'll take this intercooler piping off, get that out of the way, and then we can start undoing all these manifold bolts. As I was pulling that intercooler off, I noticed this this little painted piece is looking definitely worse for wear. I reckon I'll rub it back, see what this surface rust and stuff, how deep it goes. Might be able to chuck a new coat of paint on it. If not, we'll just get another piece. So I'll send this back and see how it goes. Alright, I've had a look at that piece while I wheeled it back. There's no major rust, it's just a bit of surface rust, so we'll sand that back when we get to it, and we'll repaint it. Alright, time to get to the fun part. I should be able to get in there, shouldn't have too much of an issue pulling it out. It's just because the lines are still attached and I can't get them out in the car, so I'll have to pull the manifold off, then separate it from the turbo, and then pull those lines off. So my major issue is now we can't take the turbo off from the manifold because this back bolt, I just can't get to it. So we'll take the manifold off, it's probably going to be easier. And then plus, to take off the lines, even with the turbo off, it's just going to be a headache. So everything will come out and it'll make it easier. Let's get onto it. I think the 14 mils, give it a shot. I'm going to put a timer on, see how long it takes me to undo it and take it out, just for a bit of fun. Let's see how long it takes. All right, it was a little smooth sailing until, see that little dog in there? Oh, where are we? See that little dog in there? I can get the spanner on it, but the way, everything else is in the way. So for example, I'm hitting my engine mount bracket to use the spanner this way, for example. As soon as I spin it that way to get the more leverage on it, it actually won't slide onto the nut. So I'm going to keep playing around with it, but every other nut is loose. Everything was really accessible. So this is really accessible, but it's just in a really awkward spot where I can't use the spanner how it's been designed. So I can't spin it because it won't have enough clearance to sit on the other way to actually use the leverage without it hitting anything. So we'll have to keep fucking around with it, but I think we're up to like 7 minutes or something like that to get everything cracked except this one. So we'll keep going. Update probably 20 minutes. I've given up with that. I'm gonna go down to super shit and I'm gonna get some ratchet spanners. We'll do it like 12-piece set for like $100, so might as well. I only need a 14, but look, it's one of those things. That's the piece that we need, boys. Alrighty, so we got all the nuts done underneath, which is good. So now we're gonna chase that line that goes. So we're gonna chase that coolant feed line, see where it goes, undo that. So we're also looking for the coolant drain. So we'll disconnect everything from the motor and then just leave it connected to the turbo up there. And then, so when we pull this manifold out, we're pretty well pulling everything out with the lines connected to the turbo, but not the motor, if that makes sense. The oil drain was the only thing we needed to completely disconnect, and the rest can just come off the motor and stay connected to the turbo. So let's undo those now. Ah, shit. Why didn't I assume being on this angle and then taking the fitting off the block was going to make me lose all the coolant inside the engine, if that makes sense. So I haven't lost any out of the radiator, but everything from inside the block is now on the floor. So, well, all right. Let's hope this manifold's easy to pull out. Otherwise, I'm going to be a very, very unhappy man. Fuck me, that's heavy. There's that lost bolt. And that was also my exhaust leak. So at least doing this, we're gonna be able to change our dump pipe flange as well, which is good. So to get that thing back in, I'm probably gonna have to take that dump pipe off. Otherwise it's gonna be fucked. But well, we got it out. All right, so what we have here is a 3582 Garrett Turbo with the low mount manifold. So now we pulled it out the car. I'm gonna disconnect the manifold from the turbo, and then hopefully we can get to these fittings on both sides. So yeah, so the oil feed is good. I don't have to change that because it wasn't leaking, and it is a new line. It's a new braided line. But what we're looking at here, this is our coolant feed. As you can see, the split happened. I'll show you once I turn it over. So at the moment, we're just going to pull the turbo off the manifold and yeah, see how we go. All right, if you have a look, you can see where we split that line for that coolant feed right off the fitting, which I thought was going to be okay because it had a hose clamp here, but you can see that it's actually pressed onto a fitting to suit the turbo, and it wasn't coming off. So I just thought we were going to undo that, cut it off, slip it on, but obviously it's turned into a job now. We've got the manifold out, and yeah, we're pretty balls deep in it. All right, so now I'm going to see if I can take that fitting off without having to pull the front of the turbo off. Hopefully we'll be able to get there, but I don't know if it's going to be promising. So I've just marked out where my wastegate connected. Obviously it should be pretty simple, but if we're pulling the front of the turbo off, I really want to be able to line everything back up. And I've also marked return for the coolant return, and then the feed, and then F for feed, coolant feed. So let's see if we can undo these and we can go get some lines made. All right, so just took both of the fittings off that we need to. So this was the feed, and I saw just there, and I was like, oh, it's a little bit burnt. So I just put some pressure on it, and bang, look at that. I'm glad we didn't just fix that. Oh, I'm glad we weren't able to fix the feed line. Otherwise, without a doubt, very, very soon we were going to be dealing with another failure. So I'm glad we found that while we did. And luckily enough, we didn't have to take off the front of the turbo to get these lines off. I was able to get in there with a shifter, and this one wasn't very tight anyway. So probably another good thing. But yeah, guys, that's about it for today, I think. There's not actually too much else I need to do on this side. I need to get some lines made so I need to get the lines made, and then yeah, we can go on and putting everything back together. All right, while we wait for the lines to come back, thought I'd clean up that pipe a little bit. Just give it a spray with subframe black, spray it over, let the drying process begin. Decided I'm going to take this heat wrap off. It just looks shit. It probably works really well, but you know, it's a pain in the ass to get bolts on and off. And look, it's starting to fall apart, starting to look pretty manky. So it is coated, which is okay. And there is a shield that goes over the manifold. Let's plug this back in. And there is a shield that goes over that manifold anyway. So take this off. It will probably make a difference. This heat wrap probably does make a difference, but I'm going to take it off. Legend. There you go, man. Thank you, mate. Cheers. No worries. Enjoy it. Let us know, but yeah, no, that's really sweet. Yeah. As you would have seen, we just picked up the braided lines from Sleek Spares. We also got a turbo gasket, so a dump gasket, and then we also got a turboed manifold gasket, which is good. So we got 2 new ones of those. Those lines look so good. Look at that. How good's that? How fucking good. So we got the return line again in heat wrap. That was our stuff that we brought off the old line. We were able to use that one, reuse, but for the feed line, they said it was too short.
Turbo swap turned into hospital quick smart.
Alright, far out. Shut up, you lot. Alright, so we're taking the rehousing off the turbo purely because we couldn't get to these lines. I really wanted to make sure these were tight. Because if these were leaking, we'd have to do the whole thing again. So I made sure all the lines are tight. Everything is gone over once, so I'm happy with that. And now we can put the turbo onto the manifold.
It is currently almost midnight. We're all at the shed trying to get this turbo back on the Skyline. And we're all under the influence of it. Giles probably won't put this on YouTube because he's a dickhead, but this is the real Giles. Just fuck, working on his car.
Facts.
And as soon as he gets the camera out, he goes, alright, I'm sober. And then as soon as the camera turns off, munted. Why don't you tell the truth to your fans about your addiction? Look at me. How you going down there, Giles?
Alright, so just getting the manifold on because I'm lazy and I haven't taken off the dump, which I think is going to bite me in the arse a little bit. But I'm just going to tighten up these bolts finger tight just to pull it to the block. Putting the manifold bolts on is going to pull you closer to where the dump is because we try to put the dump on first just to see if it's going to be easier. But it's about what, an inch off probably, Nick. It needs to move up an inch, so. Oh, don't put that stud there, otherwise you'll be spewing when you lose it. Bro, we've lost so many bolts and then found them again. Alright, since we're painting things, I might as well paint this as well. Went down to Sprint's, got some high heat, some paint. We're just going to give this a bit of a spritz up. So this is the exhaust manifold cover, I suppose, heat shield. So we're just going to paint it black. Hopefully it looks a little bit nicer because you can see, it's a bit hard to tell on camera, but it goes a little bit orange and you know, it doesn't look as neat as it does when it's just completely silver. So we'll spray this and go from there. First coat done. We'll be back. Professional. Alright, today is not my day. So we're tightening the oil drain line, and so it's 2 Allen keys. That line was a tad too long. So I already had it plumbed in to the turbo, but that line was too long. Like the L line. I'll show you. All right, so we had this side in onto the turbo, nipped up, all tight and everything, and then we went to put this side onto the block, so this side connects to a bung off the block. But this being a tad too long, we were unable to screw this end into the block. So we had to take off this top bit from the turbo, so 2 Allen key bolts, and then we pulled it out. Tighten this side up first, and then we made our way up to the top, put them in as we were tightening these 2 Allen key bolts to secure this side to the turbo. I got to the top and it just went loose. I was like, oh, Jesus Christ, I just stripped it. I was like, whatever. We just stripped it, so we pulled it out, and further inspection, it's actually cracked the core. I'll show you. There it is, it's completely off. Man, that's some shit. But now we're gonna have to pull this turbo and everything off. I've just undone all the lines. So manifold's about to come out, and then we can separate the turbo from the manifold, get it welded up, re-tapped, and then do it all again. So, yeah, we'll just do that now and let's get it done.
If I do something subtle, just do what I have to do in the rear, and then make it look the way I need it to look.
Bada bing, bada boom. Alright, our little issue is now resolved. A couple of days later, BFAB hooked it up once again, getting that welded up. So now everything back onto the manifold and in the car. I'm not going to show you the second time doing it. I'm not going to show you the second time doing it because it's all been done. So let's put this goddamn thing in. Alright, I just filmed an outro probably about 3 hours ago saying this car has beaten me. But with some persistence, we're giving it another shot. So I was having issues with my dumb pipe stud. I threaded it and it was pretty bad. So now we are at the point of where we are welding with a gasless MIG, a bolt back onto that stud, hopefully getting that off now. So we'll give it a shot, see if these welds hold up. If not, we'll just have to do another one. But let's hope, let's pray, because then we can put the dump pipe on and we can put the rest of the manifold bolts in and we can pretty well start the thing. So, but fingers crossed, persistence is key. Lads and ladettes. So, we had an issue. I had a stud stuck in the back of my turbo, and Shane, the man, the myth, the legend, has came in clutch, and we've got it out. So, everything is back together. All the lines are on. It's the first start up time. Let's do it. Still got that exhaust leak from my dump. We went over the R31, we made sure it was all good, because we went for a little bit of a drive, we got it pretty warm, and then so we obviously left it overnight, let the coolant rest, and we checked the coolant. We also went over the stuff that we touched, so all the lines, the manifold, the turbo, just pretty well had a look over the whole vehicle, made sure it was all good to go. Yeah, now we're in the shed doing some painting. It's pretty late, we're about to do our last clear coat, and then yeah, we're ready to slap these on tomorrow, and we're going to get ready for a car cruise. So let's do this, eh? And yeah, and we'll just take it as it comes. So next video will be a cruise, and the video after that we're doing some suspension stuff in the white car again. So stay tuned for that. Click subscribe for more 31 content, and have a good night, lads. We'll see you on the flip side.